The Everyday VOpreneur podcast summer series is all about helping voice actors answer their most pressing business and marketing questions, giving them an opportunity to come on the show, ask what they want to ask, talk about it, and hopefully solve all of the world's problems by the time we reach the end. Today's guest, Ryan Bennis, so great to have you. What is the
Thank you.
big question that is keeping you up at night, and how can I hopefully try to help you with that?
Well, it's a newer question because I didn't really have to approach it yet. So I retired from the Marine Corps about 3 weeks ago. Finally grown a little facial hair out for the first time in 22 years. Um, and it's led me to a couple big questions of I've got extra time on my plate now.
Mhm.
Where do voice actors, when they get to this stage in their career, when they're able to transition to full time, really start to invest that time so it's worth it? I've invested a lot of time in my performance over the years, maybe the last 5, 6 years, coaching regularly as best I can. But building the business piece, you kind of do in small little chunks. So when you have more time available, how do you prioritize? Where do you put your energy? You've got that finite amount of time that, well, you only had a couple hours before. Now you've got an influx of it, if you will.
Yep.
How do you manage that time and build your business so it doesn't plateau? When you start maybe ratcheting down a little bit of your coaching and working on building your business a little bit more. It's kind of the question there.
Well, first of all, I have to say the very first thing I did when I retired from the fire department was grew facial hair. So
I see you kept it.
I,
So
I totally understand. I was like, I don't ever have to shave again if I don't want to. This is amazing. So I totally relate to that. Um, I think the question that you're asking is a really important question because I think that one of the things that I see happen a lot is voice actors who get stuck in a perpetual state of preparation.
yep.
There will always be one more class, one more workshop, one more conference, one more coaching session, one more podcast, one more book, whatever. There's always going to be one more of those things. And I think, ironically, for some of the people who want to succeed the hardest, they're the ones that take the longest time to actually get started doing the thing because they are in such a state of preparation
Mhm.
that there's almost a failure to launch scenario that goes
Right.
on because they're waiting. Well, after I do this workshop, I think I'm going to be ready. After I take this X session, I think I'll have the confidence that I need to do this. After I take that class about that casting site, and it always just becomes kicking the can further and further and further and further down the road.
Mhm.
On the flip side of that, you have people who have found success in the industry, built a really nice, thriving business for themselves. And then in the midst of managing that really nice, thriving business, they slowly stop doing all of the things that got them there in the first place because now they're too busy to take the classes or too busy to do the marketing or too busy to do the social media. And then one day they wake up and realize, where did my really nice, thriving business go?
Mhm.
And somewhere in the middle of that is the balance that you're talking about, right? It's trying to figure out what is the right amount to spend doing marketing, doing pay to play, doing agent pursuit, doing training, workshops,
Mhm.
conferences, all of that sort of stuff. And I think that the truly successful voice actors are the ones who have figured out what that balance is. And I have to tell you that it is a balance that I still work to find myself. I mean, I talked about this at Mavo. I talked
Mhm.
about my session was all about building this amazing career that has continuously gone up and to the right. And then one day you're like, wait a minute, I'm not going up and to the right anymore. And you
Mhm.
stop doing the things that got you there in the first place. So I think the first thing I would be looking at is, are you booking right now? Right? You've had a
Yes.
limited
Mhm.
amount of
Mhm.
time. So with the limited amount of time that you've had,
Mhm.
you've invested that time into certain areas, into certain things. If you're booking already, then we know that you're bookable.
Mhm.
And so that in and of itself tells me that you're ready to get out there and just start really pursuing the work. And I
Mhm.
think that the time that you've been given is the gift to really start pursuing the work. That doesn't specifically mean that the coaching stops, but it definitely means that you can't let the coaching become a crutch.
Mhm.
of, taking another session, taking another class, taking another workshop before you start doing all of those things. So where was the work coming from in the limited amount of time that you had
Mhm.
because of your career? Where was the work coming from? How were you finding it?
P2Ps.
Okay.
So, limited marketing. I've had a great recurring client over the last 3 years that I
Mhm,
found on LinkedIn,
mhm,
but my other marketing wasn't great. I need to revisit that. I'd spend a little bit of time on the weekends kind of generating some leads. I would use Nimble on Tuesday to bulk email those out, and then I would follow up, a week later, and then that just wasn't producing for me at all. That one lead on LinkedIn miraculously worked out for a bunch of great work. But P2Ps has kind of been where that's been at. And, similar to kind of what you talked about before, not knowing how the algorithms work. I'm a V123 guy. Recently got the voices when they had the promo again.
mhm.
I fell off them years ago too for different reasons, but giving it another shot. But V123's kind of really produced a number of repeat clients for me over the last few years too. So
That's awesome.
that's the bulk of my work. And that's been steadily getting better and better. And I track that, with my booking ratio and the number of likes and all those algorithm
All
problems.
the things that you can
Oh
obsess
my
about that
gosh,
can just
yes.
absolutely make you mental.
And, I've gotten to be pretty comfortable with that program. But that's where it is. So, needing
Okay.
to branch out further with agents and those kind of things is a goal. Because I know I'm booking the work, I'm getting the like to audition ratio that I want, but I do need to build that business more and get out there now that I've got the time. So
Okay.
if that answers your question.
Yeah, it does. So I think obviously we want to focus on what's working. So pay to plays are working for you, making sure that you're current with Voice 123 and voices.com. Because one of the things that I've also learned, I myself got back on voices.com and Voice 123.
Hmm.
More than anything, it was a research project. I haven't been on the sites in over a decade. I want to understand how they're working again, right? And so I got back on 123 last October, got
Hmm.
back on voices.com only about a little over a month ago. But making sure that you're current with those sites because they're constantly changing. Algorithms are constantly changing. How voices.com works is different completely from how Voice 123 works. And how Voice 123 works is different. Sometimes it feels like almost week to week. And so making
Yes.
sure that you're staying on top of those
Now
things.
you can
But
add videos in there. I was like, oh,
yeah.
it's like,
Yep. Yeah, there's always something new going on there, but one of the things that I think that I would be looking at if I was in your shoes right now from a training perspective is shifting where I'm putting my training dollars right now. So,
Mhm.
I think there's plenty of opportunities to do workshops with really great coaches. I think what I would be looking at now if I'm in your shoes is the opportunity to do workshops with agents.
Mm.
How do I get myself in front of agents? Because the couple of key things that you said is you're booking and you have a really good audition to like and audition to booking ratio,
Mhm.
which to me says you're probably going to do great in a room if you can get in a room in front of some of these agents. So I would be looking at who are some of the agents that you think that you would like to ultimately be able to get in front of. How do you get in front of them? And that
Mhm.
can happen through, an X session at VO Atlanta, for
Yep.
example, but it can also happen through online workshops. There's tons of agents now, more and more that are doing these online workshops and giving you an opportunity to get in the room with them. And so that's like the phase two training, I think, is, I've worked with the coaches, I've honed my skills. I feel pretty good about that. Now it's time to go and really showcase what I can
Mhm.
do. So, from a training perspective, that's where I would be focusing some of my efforts right now. Find those workshops that can get you in front of those agents so that when it comes time to reach out to some of those agents, they've already got an idea of who you are, right? I think that's really important.
Great
Making
idea. Yeah.
sure that all the stuff that you're booking, don't be afraid to talk about it.
Yeah, that's
Provided
gonna
you're not under any NDAs or anything
Yep.
like that, right? Don't be
Mhm.
afraid to talk about it. Don't be afraid to talk about your credits. Make sure that they're on your website. Build a portfolio page if you can. Share
Mhm.
some of that stuff on social media if you're going to do social media. But it all comes back to building social proof. It's the Amazon, the equivalent of the Amazon review, right? You're going to buy something on Amazon. The very first thing you do is look at how many five-star reviews it has, right? And
Yep.
you're sitting there in that main Amazon search screen and it's like this one has 5,712, this one has 6. Okay, let's go to the one with 5,712, right?
Yep.
It's just automatic, it's social proof. that's what building out that portfolio page
Mhm.
for you can be.
I like that.
I think the other thing that I would be looking at right now, because you have a client base, what you have with that client base is a data set.
Mhm.
So you have the ability to look at who are these people that are booking me? What kind of companies are they? What are the job titles that I'm consistently working with? And that's giving you a data set that you can now attempt to replicate. Okay, I'm consistently booking this type of work, this genre, or with this type of client, or with this particular job title. How do I go find 20, 50, 100 more of that company? How do I find 100 more of that job title? How do I get connected with 100 more of those people on LinkedIn? Now, I know you said you've had that one success on
Yep.
LinkedIn. You haven't felt like the email side has worked as well for you. I think there's certainly things that you could do to improve your email marketing strategy. But part of what makes marketing work is just replicating where the success has already come from.
Yeah, I think I've been replicating the failures. So it wasn't working, so I just kept doing it anyway because that became my routine after work was to do these things. And um, that's a great point. I think um, a lot of the work that I do get into with my military and aviation background is military, government, aviation.
Mhm.
Um, those just seem to come naturally, like, airline type things. I don't want to pigeonhole myself either, but I think to your point, it makes sense to like do what you're good at, and then you can branch out. Is that kind of are you?
There's a concept that I teach in voiceover marketing playbook, which is the concept of the unique value proposition. And I think every one of us has unique value propositions. Some of us have multiple unique value propositions, but there are those little things that make us stand out for one reason or another. And obviously, in those areas that you're talking about, if it comes down to you and one other voice actor, and you've got the experience and you've got time in the seat, and the other voice actor's never even seen a fighter jet before, like
Right.
that's the thing that's going to give you the edge, right? And you already understand the lingo. You
Mhm.
already understand how to talk to these people. You understand the culture. You understand how they communicate, right? And so all of those things give you an edge from a marketing perspective. And so I would 100% be leaning into that. So the very first thing that I would be doing is building a list of everybody that you could possibly think of in aerospace and defense. And you might be surprised to see how much of a network you already have that you didn't even think about.
Yep. I
And
think I never leveraged it while I was active duty military because that's kind of taboo. You don't really
sure,
wanna do that, but I guess that door is opening
that
now.
door's opening now.
So, yeah.
And it may not be, maybe some of the people that you're connected with aren't the ones that are ultimately going to hire you, but maybe they're connected with somebody who can. And so a big part of it is just leveraging your network, right? Learning how to make connections. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that because I think that when we're adding value to our network,
Mhm.
everybody wins. And so if they get to be the one that makes the referral, hey, I know a guy that can do that thing for you, that makes them look good, right? And so
Right.
I would absolutely be leaning into the network. And I don't think that I would worry about that pigeonholing you.
Mhm.
I've found over the years, I have no idea why, because I never intentionally set out to do it. But I just seem to book a lot in the IT space.
Hmm.
I don't know why. I'm not an IT guy. I don't know anything about IT, but apparently I sound like how they want it to sound. And so
Okay.
I book a lot in that space. It was not ever anything that I set out to do. I didn't intentionally market myself in that space for or anything like that. But now I will lean into that when I see those types of opportunities. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to go for this because I've booked for this company and that company and that company. So it makes more sense to just lean into where the success is coming from. So really paying attention to that and learning how to replicate it.
Hmm.
I think from an email marketing standpoint, one of the things that I think honestly has changed a lot is in this age of AI where it is so easy to have ChatGPT or Claude or whatever write emails for you and just do all of the work. The voice actors who are taking the time to write a much more personalized message, who are actually doing a little bit of research on the lead, getting to know a little bit about them, about the company, about the work that they do, and writing a much more personalized email, those are the ones that are making email marketing work for them.
Mhm. Hmm.
There's an argument for using AI and doing it at scale, right? I can blitz out a campaign to 500 people with one click when I'm doing a more generic messaging. And if you send, 500 generic messages to people, there's a probability that you're going to get at least a couple of responses. And I understand that argument, but I would rather send 10, 15, 20 personalized messages in a week and generate a couple of responses off of those. And I feel like I'm doing less work and getting a higher return. And so one of the things that I would be looking at from your email marketing strategy is, are you taking the time at the very least that first message, I think needs to have some sort of personalization to it. And my benchmark for that is pretty simple. If I can copy, paste, and send this email to anybody else without editing, it's not personalized enough.
Yep. Okay.
Right? There should be something
Mhm.
in that message that wouldn't make sense to anybody else if I sent it to them. Could be one
Mhm.
sentence, but there
Yep.
should be one component of that email doesn't make sense to anybody else. And so then you've written a more personalized message. And I think in the age of AI cluttering up our inboxes, I think those are the sorts of things that are really starting to stand out.
That makes sense.
So
Yeah.
those are some of the things that I'm looking at. One is getting in front of agents.
Mhm.
Where are the opportunities for you to get in front of agents? Two, make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do the way that you need to be doing it on online casting.
Yep.
If you haven't taken a class, and it sounds like you got Voice 123 working for you already. Voices.com, Gina Scarpa has a great class on
Okay.
voices.com that teaches you how to optimize that profile, right? Make sure you're using those sites the right way because they're a moneymaker if you're using them the right way. And I
Right.
think a lot of people make the mistake of just subscribing and then auditioning and thinking that that's enough. And there's a behind the scenes game that gets played on those
Oh,
sites
yeah.
too, right? And so learning that, but then going back through and really digging into the data of, okay, these are all the people that I've worked with
Mhm.
over the past however many years. What can I draw from this? Wow, okay, a lot of them have this job title. A lot of them work at this type of company. One of the great things with LinkedIn is you could literally hit everybody's profiles, all the people that you've worked with, and LinkedIn will give you a list that are literally on when you're on somebody's profile. If you look on the right-hand side of the screen, there's a list that are like more connections like this.
Hmm.
Something like that. I forget exactly what it's called, but it's literally more people who are just like this person that you're looking at.
Hmm.
So it's giving you leads.
Yeah, that makes sense. I haven't maximized that for sure. So that's a good point.
So just looking at where the wins are coming from and figuring out how do I replicate that. I
Yep.
think that's a really big part of it.
Okay. Yeah, to your point, I think I was going back a lot of my past bookings the last couple weeks now that I had some time, and I was starting to find all of the. I was using GPT for this though. I was plugging in the specs from everything that I'd been booking over the last several years,
Mhm.
and it was kind of compiling a list of keywords of
Yeah.
tags,
Smart.
authoritative, those kind of things. And it's like, well, but you never get quirky or, like that. So I'm like, okay. So, it helps me be more selective, but it's also helping me build, where my strengths and weaknesses are as well, for those bookings. To your point, I think it's a great, great thing to keep digging into.
That's also helping you with all of your marketing messaging because what it's coming back with, wow, you consistently get booked when they ask for this direction, or you
Mhm.
specifically you get booked more when they ask for this type of read or this type of character. All of that information, that is stuff that you could include on your website. You absolutely should be including on your website. All of those are different types of posts that you could include on social media. So all of them are things that I would make sure that I'm including, like LinkedIn profile, put it in your about section.
Hmm.
Voice123 voices.com, put it on your profile. Make sure those keywords are there and they're written into your profile, your about section, because that's now you establishing credibility and authority in that read, style,
Mhm.
tone, whatever. So
Yep.
now the next person that goes into ChatGPT and says, "Hey, I'm looking for an authoritative military type figure," and
Yep.
your name pops up because you've got those keywords
Mhm.
in all these different places on the web, your different profiles, your different social media, whatever. And so now it's recommending you.
Yep.
So leaning into that sort of information, those are the types of things when you're writing marketing emails that you can include into the different email campaigns, whether it's in your introductory email or your follow-up emails. Don't just tell them you're a voice actor, help them understand what kind of voice actor you are and
Mhm.
where you would be able to help them. So now when
Mhm.
it's time for them to cast a project that specifically asks for an authoritative voice, they're like, Ryan said that. Ryan said that he can do the authoritative read. And so
Mhm.
now it's not just, you're not just another male VO on the roster. You're a male VO who can really nail this, this, and this. And
Yeah,
so
and you're not
including
selling something you're not either, so,
yeah,
you know, it's
exactly. Now you're making their life easier, right? Maybe they don't
mhm.
have to cast as wide of a net for a project
Mhm.
because they already know that they've got somebody who matches the spec.
Mhm.
So that's really good. The research that you're doing with it, I think, is really smart. It's now just taking that information. How do I implement that data into my overall marketing strategy? And I think there's a lot of different ways that you can do that.
Yep. No, this is good. I'm gonna definitely dig into the workshops and everything too. You mean you did a full career in the fire department, so, like, we're in a similar situation. What was it like for you when you left that world? I mean, it's a close-knit world, same as the military. It's, and then you kinda go into this world of voice acting full-time. You know, looking back from when you did that, any last tidbits of wisdom of, you know, what it's like when you leave a world like that, which is similar to mine, and you go into this booth?
One of the
Um
things that I think has been really great is that there is an equal community in voiceover. And I think you've already had a taste of that just by, going to a conference like Mavo. There's no shortage of places where you can go, Facebook groups, social media, conferences, workshops, whatever. There is a really tight knit community, which I think is really good.
Mhm.
I think it kind of fills that void in where you feel like maybe it's been left out a little bit. But for me, getting the gift of the time, I knew this was what I was supposed to do.
Mhm.
And I was doing it to the best of my ability with the limited amount of time that I had, whether that was dividing time through fire department, dividing time through my radio career, all that sort
Mhm.
of stuff. I was giving this the best that I could, but I really truly believe like this is the thing that I'm supposed to do. This is the thing that I want to do. And so having the gift of time to do it was honestly one of the greatest things. I think one of the struggles that I've seen, I mean, I've coached, I don't know, at this point, thousands of voice actors over the course of my career. Not everybody wants to be their own boss, but not everybody can be their own boss.
Mhm.
It takes a special kind of discipline
Mhm.
to show up every day and do the thing when the only person you're answering to is you. And when you're working from home, my kids are upstairs right now. It's summer break, right? Nobody's in school. Daddy, can we do this? Daddy, can we do that? Like it's really easy to just be like, yeah, we can do that. But at the end of the day, I got a business to run.
Yeah.
And not everybody has the discipline to get up and come into the office every day, send the emails, make the posts, submit the auditions, apply to the agents, whatever, again, do the thing, whatever the thing is. Not everybody has the discipline that it takes to do that, or it takes them a while to develop that. I
Mhm.
suspect with your military background, discipline is not going to be an issue. Although you might go the other way. You might be like, I just spent the last 20 years living in complete discipline, and now
Yeah,
I'm
I'm just
just
gonna
want
go
to,
wild.
I'm going to
I'm
grow
trying
my
not
facial
to,
hair and I'm just going to be done with it all.
but, you're right, like, I've already planned it all out. I've got a planner, I'm like, "Do these things," and, but the discipline is a big piece, but I am tempted, haven't been around my kids as much as I want. I got a, 3 and an 8-year-old, and, this time is, but
That's the beauty of being your own boss, though, is being able to find that balance, right?
yes. Mhm.
Do I work every day in the office from 9 to 5? No, I absolutely don't. Are there days when I take the day and go do something with my kids? Sure. And then when they go to bed at 7 o'clock, and I come back into the office for a couple hours and do things then. Like
Yep.
that's if without that flexibility, what's the point, right? Why be my own boss if I can't have that kind of flexibility? But my measuring stick is by the time Friday rolls around, did I check off the boxes that needed to be checked off of the
Mhm.
things that I needed to do, right? It doesn't specifically have to happen Monday at 10 a.m. and Thursday at 1 p.m. or whatever. I'm more concerned with, did it happen?
Mm.
Did I submit the number of auditions that I wanted to submit? Did I send the number of emails that I wanted to send? Did I make the number of social media posts that I needed to make? Did I reach out to or find the number of leads that I wanted to find, and, set those numbers, set those benchmarks, and really lean into just making sure the goals are checked off the box at the end of the week, but
Mm.
working smarter, not harder in the midst of that.
No, it's huge. Well, that answers the big question. I think I know where I need to kind of lean into, with stuff, and I'm going to reattack. Well, I haven't given any service to my voices.com profile really, because I just jumped into that again, like similar to you.
Yep.
And my V123 is really built out, I think, pretty well. But
a lot of that probably will translate over. Honestly,
yeah.
You could probably take the keywording and all that you've done on 123, move it over to voices.com, and you probably already be light years ahead of a lot of people. So definitely worth spending a little bit of time there, investing there, because the more clips that you have, the samples that you have, the more 100% voice matches that you have, right? Those are all the little things that make a difference ultimately in the number of auditions that you get access to. And because you've got a really strong audition to like ratio, audition to book rate on 123, carry that over to voices.com. That's going to make a big difference too, right? The algorithm doesn't work exactly the same. It's not, my understanding is it is not as punishing as the voice 123 algorithm can be if you don't get as many likes or whatever, but it still certainly helps that when you prove to them, okay, this guy's got what it takes, we're going to give him more auditions or whatever. So definitely learning that system so that you can maximize your return on investment there. But word of caution, when the casting sites are working for you, it's really easy to give the casting sites more and more and more and more time, focus, and attention. And you do that, I think, at the expense of being able to go out and get your own clients that you're working with directly.
That's the goal. That's what I want. Yep.
So making sure there's
the most rewarding I've had is the ones that I've gotten myself.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's just,
You don't have to worry about the platform. What if the algorithm changes, whatever, right? You don't have to stress about that sort of stuff. So that's the only thing is use those sites. They're obviously working for you. Use them, make money off of them. Absolutely. But make sure that you're finding that balance between spending time on those sites and spending time doing your own marketing, spending time building your own client base and working that way as well.
Will do, Mark. This is huge. I appreciate you taking the time to answer these questions. And, as you know, it's a weird transition time when you're finally going full time. It's like, wow, the dream is here. And, I can invest that finite amount of, you don't have much time normally. And now I've got a bulk of it to divvy up. And I'm going to look into those workshops and maximize my LinkedIn and go from there. And
what I'm thinking about if I'm in your shoes right now is if you've achieved the success that you've achieved with the limited amount of time that you've had, and now you're just going to take that success and 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, right? Whatever, based on, if I was able to do this with 5 or 10 hours a week, imagine what I can do if I have 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And that's exciting to me, right? That becomes a motivator for me to actually get in the studio every day and do the thing.
Yep. Awesome. Well, thanks, brother. I look forward to running into you again. I don't know when it'll be, but I'm sure it'll happen. So,
yeah, for sure.
We'll break some barbecue or something. So.
Sounds good.
Thanks, Mark.